the latest.
Plus, the Federal Reserve is again not budging on interest rates. What does this mean for your wallet?
And new research is helping people with one common neurological disease. Newswatch starts right now. Results are in for key elections from last night's primary. Good evening, I'm Cameron Nutt.
And I'm Haley Swayno. Welcome to Newswatch. Well, we have a lot of races to go through tonight, so let's dive right in. In the Democratic primary for Athens County Treasurer, Nelsonville City Auditor Taylor Sappington has beat opponent Beth Clodfelter by over 300 votes. In November, Sappington will likely be running unopposed for the position. He says he is excited and grateful to have won the primary and will continue to work for Nelsonville until a transition is necessary.
Staying in Athens County, voters in Alexander Local School District again reject a levy helping fund the district. The levy was rejected by around 350 votes. This was the district's second attempt at passing the levy before the funds expire in 2025. Alexander Superintendent William Hampton says 600 more people voted for the levy last August as compared to this election. Hampton says come fall, the district will have to cut spending.
Make some changes. So we will be making some changes, and it's just determined how aggressive we get about that, at making those changes. We have one more attempt at renewing this levy, but we have to decide if we're going to pursue it or if we're just going to make change.
We'll have another chance to pass the levy in November, but Hampton says he is unsure if they will put it forward again.
Moving over to the state level, we have a number of key races on both sides of the state house. In the Democratic primary for State Senate District 14, Shane Markham has won that race by just under 1,000 votes and will face Republican Terry Johnson in the fall.
Now in the State House of Representatives for District 51, Republican Jody Salvo will face Democrat Joe Reinhardt in November. In the Republican primary for District 69, incumbent Kevin Miller won that race by just over 3,000 votes.
That's right. In District 94, Kevin Ritter has won the Republican primary for that seat by close to 4,000 votes and will face Democrat Wenda Shear. In the Republican primary for District 95, incumbent Don Jones has won his primary race against Nelson Rowe. And Mark Heiner has clinched a over 4,000 vote victory in the Republican primary for District 98 and will face off against Annie Homstad.
Now taking a look at federal races, 3 big races for the U.S. House are set.
And in the District 2 Republican primary, one of the most expensive races in the state, David Taylor won that race and will face Democrat Samantha Meadows. As for District 6 on the Democratic side, Michael Kripchek has won his primary race and will face Republican Michael Rulli. And Adam Miller, he won the District 15 Democratic primary with just over 64% of the vote. On the other side of Congress and to one of the biggest races of the night, Bernie Moreno has won the Republican Ohio U.S. Senate primary. The Trump-endorsed Cleveland businessman beat Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose and State Senator Matt Dolan with nearly 51% of the vote.
Moreno will face Democratic U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown this fall. Brown's seat is expected to be a top GOP target in November, as he is the lone Democrat holding a non-judicial statewide office in Ohio. Moreno says his top priority is beating Brown.
Getting rid of Sherrod Brown, we're going to get back to United States Senate, and then by getting back to United States Senate, we're going to put this country back on track.
Though his top priority out of 3 candidates running in last night's primary, some Republicans see Moreno as the least likely to defeat incumbent Brown.
Now, these are only some of the results from last night's primary. So for more local results, along with some of the reactions to results, head to WOUB.org. Once there, click on election results. Alrighty, well, it has been another sunny but super windy day here in Athens.
That's right, Haley. You are taking a live look outside here in Athens, where it looks like some of the trees are starting to bloom.
Oh, I love when those cherry blossom trees start to bloom.
Oh my
so
gosh.
Beautiful.
They're my favorite.
Absolutely. Well, joining us now is our forecaster, Leah Frizzell. Leah, would tonight be a good night to go out and check out those trees?
Well, temperature-wise, I would say yes, but those winds out there are brutal. We're experiencing some pretty high winds. You can see that those gusts are up to 25 miles an hour. which we're still having some pretty pleasurable temperatures, 53 degrees out there and those clear skies, but those winds are making it feel a little bit more chillier than what it actually is. Now, because of this, these winds, we're actually experiencing a fire weather advisory in southeast Ohio, basically just stating to take extra precautions if you were to start a fire because these winds are bringing in some very strong dry air. Now, today we experienced actually greater temperature than 54 degrees. Around 2 p.m. we were around 57 out there, and again, those beautiful clear skies, much different than the weather we were experiencing earlier in the week. Now tonight we are going to see these temperatures dip right back down into the 20s, so if you want to get outside, I would definitely start doing that now, especially while that sun is still out there. Tonight's sunset at 7:42 p.m. for all my sunshine lovers out there. Now tomorrow we're going to see some cooler temperatures, but we'll be back up into the 60s on Friday.
Thanks, Leah. Well, if you heard storm sirens this morning, but you didn't see any clouds, you may have been a bit confused. But the Ohio Emergency Management Agency held a statewide tornado drill today. It's all a part of the Severe Weather Awareness Week. Ohio EMA Executive Director Sema Merrick says this week encourages all Ohioans to make an emergency plan. Governor Mike DeWine says this week couldn't come at a better time. Over the last month, multiple tornadoes have swept across the state, leaving behind a trail of damage. To make your emergency plan, head to the Ohio Weather Safety website. Starting Friday, traffic in Athens on Harold Avenue from Davidson Court to West Union Street will all be one way. This means cars traveling eastbound on West Union Street will have to use alternate routes like West State or Schaefer Street. The change is a part of the city's roadwork project on West Union Street. The city says this phase of the project is scheduled to be completed in July.
Governor Mike DeWine is giving an additional $5.8 million to protect families from lead exposure. One of the groups getting some of that money, Ironton Lawrence County Area Community Action Organization. The group is receiving $323,000. The money will go towards project replacing water lines and removing lead from homes. Other counties receiving these funds are Clermont, Drake, Darke, and Franklin County. Columbiana County is getting $2 million to test private water wells. The funds come more than a year after toxic train derailment in East Palestine. The Columbiana County District Health District will use that money to sample 250 residential wells. Jamie Wallace with the Unity Council for East Palestine says even being a year out, there needs to be better testing to make people feel safe. She suggests long-term medical monitoring and comprehensive indoor air testing.
Intel is getting nearly $20 billion from the White House for its computer chip plants in 4 states, including Ohio. The Biden administration hopes the money will help boost the U.S.'s global share of advanced chip production from 0 to 20% by 2040. President Biden at another Intel plant in Arizona says this will help bring all Americans into a new industrial age. Coming up, a bill to avoid a government shutdown is in the works, but some lawmakers aren't sold just yet. And how the Federal Reserve's decision to hold interest rates could affect your wallet.
Well, we started the week off on a frigid note, but how we're ending it on a warmer note on when Newswatch returns.
From their incredible power and speed to their intelligent and social nature, it's no surprise we built our world with horsepower.
When you get that trust with a horse, the sky is the limit of what you can do.
But how did we shape this remarkable creature into the 350 breeds that exist today? Let's take a global tour of the most fascinating members of the Modern Horse Club.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
When you hear the term the future, what does that conjure up?
What we do and the things we create over the next few decades will shape all minds going forward for the rest of time.
I set out in search of people who are building better futures.
Civilization is precious. Life is precious.
Hundreds of years from now, they're going to look back on our generation as the most pivotal in human history.
I take a huge sense of pride in the fact that what I do feeds a hungry nation. takes a lot of faith. I'm an independent pig farmer. 94% of us are gone. Puts the fight right in you.
The dairy world is a volatile one. Addiction is something I battle with big time, especially like when finances got rough.
If we don't carry on their legacy, then what are we fighting for?
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
Public health saved your life today, but you didn't even know it.
Viruses, pathogens, and microorganisms threaten to bring us to our knees.
Killing 2/3 of the population at a time.
The world was turned upside down.
Public health emerged as a kind of invisible shield.
And in the pandemic, that invisibility is gone.
If everything's working well, nobody thinks about public health.
Public health is like the foundation of your house. And let me tell you, ours is cracked.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
52 hours and counting. That's how long Congress has to avert a shutdown on Friday.
Yesterday, House Speaker Mike Johnson says there is a bill currently in the works to fund the government through the end of the year, but some aren't sold. A number of lawmakers have voiced their concerns about how big the bill is and the little time they have to review it. There are about 2,000 pages in the bill. One representative voicing his concern is Ohio Republican Representative Warren Davidson. He says there is not enough time to properly look at the bill.
Friends who are planning to vote for the bill and don't need 72 hours to decide you're going to vote for some 2,000 pages that spends $1 trillion and has policies you don't even know what's in there and what's not in there.
Speaker Johnson says he expects a House vote on the bill before Friday's midnight deadline.
The U.S. Federal Reserve Board is concluding its two-day policy meeting today, leaving interest rates the same as the central bank continues its bitter battle against inflation. But the end to higher prices and higher interest rates may finally be in sight. Ivan Rodriguez takes a look at the road ahead and what it means for your wallet.
The Fed's decision will hold interest rates at 5.25% for the fifth time. Officials are balancing the risk of cutting too soon with the risk of cutting too fast. Both of those decisions come with consequences. Amid back-to-back months of hotter than expected inflation data, the U.S. Federal Reserve announcing Wednesday it will continue to hold its benchmark interest rate steady.
Inflation has eased substantially while the labor market has remained strong. And that is very good news. But inflation is still too high, ongoing progress in bringing it down is not assured, and the path forward is uncertain.
With interest rates sitting at a 23-year high, the relief many market watchers and consumers had been hoping for isn't here yet, but neither is the recession that many feared. Mark Zandi of Moody's Analytics says the U.S. economy is proving to be stronger and more resilient than expected, thanks in part to the record low mortgage rates during the pandemic.
Back in the teeth of the pandemic, you could get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 2.5%, 3%, and people refinance down into that. So they're not experiencing higher debt payments because they locked in those previously low rates.
Yet, despite the economy's strengths and robust household balance sheets, people are still facing some headwinds, namely high credit card balances and surging gas prices.
Nothing hurts more quickly, more painfully than higher gas prices. If they move up much more from here, it's going to start to do some real damage.
But as the Fed steadily succeeds in its battle against inflation, the price pressure on consumers is easing, and interest rates may finally start coming down this summer.
I think everyone's going to feel a bit better with each passing month, and by the end of the year, by this time next year, I think people will feel a lot more comfortable.
Investors weren't surprised by the Fed's decision. Markets have long priced in no rate cut for the March meeting. The soonest that analysts predict a rate cut would be either June or July. The Fed still expects to cut the rates 3 times this year. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Well, Leah, we just started spring. What's it looking like out there as we start the new season?
Well, we had some pleasurable temperatures out there today, 55 degrees. We're going to see this trend continue through the next foreseeable week. We're going to see some pretty good temperatures out there, but we're going to see some rain next week. Now, up in northeast Ohio, they're experiencing some mixed precipitation and some snow because of a cold front that we have moving through our area, which is why we aren't as warm as what we were last week. You can see that these storms are just barely crossing right over the northeastern part of Ohio, the Great Lakes specifically. Now, temperature-wise, you can see that we're going to start seeing some warmer temperatures because of this high pressure system that's moving in behind that cold front. So these cold temperatures aren't going to last for long. You won't have to have that winter coat out for much longer. Now we can see here that we're 38 degrees in Pittsburgh, again feeling the effects of that cold front pushing through, and 73 degrees down in Atlanta. So that warm front that we had pushed through our area last week has moved way down south and giving them some much more pleasurable temperatures. Now here in southeastern Ohio, we're sitting around similar 55 degrees here in Athens, 49 up in Lancaster, and 54 out in Parkersburg. So definitely feeling a little bit better out there than how we started this week. Now, because of this cold, dry air that's moved into our area, much of southeastern Ohio is under a fire weather advisory, basically just stating to take precaution and to not be starting any fires in the foreseeable future. You can see that it's stretching from southeastern Ohio, Zanesville, down to Athens and even areas of West Virginia. Now, we're going to see tomorrow this high pressure system that's going to start pushing into our area. It's going to clear those skies from those cloudy weathers that we were seeing earlier this week. And even into tomorrow night, we're going to start to see it push more and more to our area and warm things up, clear those skies. It's going to become a really nice weekend for us. Now, Friday, we can start to see that we're going to see this low pressure system move in from the west, and this won't affect us until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So we're still going to see a very nice weekend this weekend and some better temperatures than how we ended this past weekend. Now tomorrow, we're not going to be under the effect of that high pressure system quite yet. We're going to see temperatures in the 40s, 46 degrees tomorrow for that high, and again, that temperature low of 27 degrees. But for the sunshine lovers out there, we are still going to see some beautifully clear skies, and that sun is going to be out to make things feel a lot warmer than what they could. Now, over the next 3 days, we're going to start to see the high pressure system as it moves into our area Thursday night and specifically Friday. So those temperatures are going to be around 66 degrees on Friday, and heading into your week next week, we're still going to be seeing those warmer temperatures, and those warmer temperatures look like they're here to stay.
Thanks, Leah. A controversial immigration law in Texas is bouncing back and forth between the highest court in the land and a panel of federal appeals judges.
And caught in the middle, the state's immigrant community, who fears that if it's moved forward, many of them could be put unfairly in the crosshairs of law enforcement agencies.
Laura Aguirre has more on Texas Senate Bill 4 and what could happen next.
Texas is in a legal tug-of-war. Governor Greg Abbott wants to start enforcing SB 4, the state's new immigration law that he signed last year. It empowers state and local law enforcement to detain people they suspect of entering the U.S. illegally. But it's facing a myriad of legal challenges from the Biden administration and other groups. And while those court battles play out, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a temporary order Tuesday allowing Texas to enforce SB 4. But hours later, a federal appeals court slammed the brakes on that, and the governor pushed back Wednesday.
Texas has a right to defend ourselves, and we will use that authority to declare an invasion and fight back against that invasion.
No SB 4! SB 4 has sparked protests, and critics say it greenlights racial profiling. After Tuesday's legal maneuvering, some cities moved quickly to allay those fears.
We don't want our deputies making arrests unless somebody has actually committed a crime.
It can be just by seeing somebody and the officer thinking that he's not from here and then asking for documents. It doesn't work like that.
But exactly how it will work is now back in the hands of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, for now, with the governor, the state, and the eyes of the nation watching.
What Texas is doing on immigration would be akin to them declaring their own wars, would create massive confusion across not just Texas, but other states.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Next, new research is helping young adults with one common neurological disease. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and YouTube.
These icebergs are amazing.
Journey to the icy ends of the Earth,
It just looks like Mars.
where the secrets of the past
We're on a beach.
We're on a beach 3 million years ago.
hold the clues to our future.
This place is so amazing.
This is the stuff that gives us a glimpse into a past warmer world.
Humans are geology. We are impacting this planet.
Polar Extremes on Nova.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB. For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
If you don't drive it, donate it and support something you use every day.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow.
Is there a secret?
Yeah, well, there's lots of secrets. I really don't share them with too many people, though, because it's fairly dangerous.
I had to ask.
Yeah.
It's no secret that Baton Rouge has tons of treasures.
That's as far back as I can get.
Baby, I knew you were worthwhile.
Thank you. Oh, don't miss Antiques Roadshow from Louisiana State University Rural Life Museum.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Well, new research has been found related to a common neurological disease in young adults. Symptoms of multiple sclerosis, also known as MS, usually starts between the ages of 20 and 40, but the disease is unpredictable and can worsen with age. Mandy Gaither shares new research for MS that could possibly help improve quality of life for patients with the disease.
It's a disease where the body's immune system attacks the central nervous system. Multiple sclerosis inflames the brain, spinal cord, and optic nerves.
The prevalence has been increasing over the past decade for unclear reasons.
Neurologist Dr. Benjamin Segal with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says MS symptoms can start in episodes that resolve when a patient is younger, but over time, more attacks can happen. The progressive form of the disease can lead to lasting decline in neurological disability. Symptoms of attacks include balance problems, muscle weakness, problems with cognition, paralysis, and tremors.
As healthcare professionals, we try to alter the course of the disease to decrease attacks and ultimately delay the progressive transition into this relentless decline.
The researchers say biological age, which measures lifelong damage to cells and organs, can be more important than chronological age, which is simply the number of years a person has lived in determining the form and severity of MS.
What we're finding is that biological age, as indicated by these tests, really is strongly associated with degree of disability in multiple sclerosis, whether you're in that progressive phase of disease, how much functional reserve that you have.
Segal says researchers are studying how to slow down or reverse biological aging to better care for patients with MS and improve quality of life. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Segal says there are several factors that influence biological aging, some of which are a person's genetic background, their lifestyle, and the environment they're exposed to. Still ahead, the catch of a lifetime. 2 men set new records in West Virginia. But first, here is a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Your timing is absolutely perfect.
Okay, my heart's beating through my chest.
It's a fresh start for all of us.
When mothers come to us, they bring everything they are with them.
It's what I love doing.
Now is our chance to be big.
Do you think you can do it?
Watch me.
This is probably crazy.
If I could be with anyone in the world, it would be with you.
Sunday on WOUB.
This is crazy town.
On Finding Your Roots, Carol Burnett.
My heart is going boom, boom, boom.
And Niecy Nash.
Even with the hard parts, there's something about knowing.
A complicated grandmother.
She was married 6 times.
And a family shocker.
When you said we gotta let him know, I didn't think you meant me.
Plus, a DNA match.
That's the one.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Times are changing.
Every nut and bolt, you know its breaking point, but the humans have not been quantified.
I'm here to serve, I'm here to learn, I'm here to grow, and so whatever happens, just remember that.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's at 39.
You never know what's going to happen if you don't give up.
Holding it together is more exhausting than the disease itself.
You might live.
You have to hunt. If you don't do subsistence activities, you die.
It connects us to our past.
Finally tonight, talk about a lucky catch. 2 fishermen break the record for the largest red-breast sunfish and tiger trout in West Virginia. Nathaniel Smith of Burlington reeled in the record-breaking tiger trout, coming in at almost 27 inches and 12 pounds. And Petersburg resident Zach Adkins caught the red-breast sunfish, which came in at over 9 inches and 9 ounces. And if breaking the record wasn't enough, Adkins is the first one to set the record for the red-breast sunfish. Both men caught their fish at the New Creek Dam in Grant County, West Virginia. I've caught 1 fish in my life. It was because I was holding the pole for somebody else who had to go to the car really quick, so they were not very happy with me.
I was going to say, I'm assuming they were like, give me that back.
I heard you're a pretty good fisherman, though.
Oh, we were talking about fishing earlier. I'd say the best catch I've ever had was a stingray in Florida.
Oh my goodness.
That was a cool one, but that sunfish, that's big for a sunfish. You know, they're usually like that.
I was going to say, I thought they were pretty small.
Yeah, that is a heck of a catch.
Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, well, we're going to toss it over to weather for final weather.
Yes, so we're definitely not looking at fishing temperatures out there tonight, looking at 22 degrees for that overnight low, but we are going to see those clear skies, so if you're into stargazing, it would be a good one to get out there tonight and see. Now, we are going to see some cooler temperatures tomorrow, a little bit cooler than what we saw today, 46 degrees for that high tomorrow, and that overnight low of 27 degrees. Tomorrow we still are going to see those mostly sunny skies, which will be nice and warm things up probably a little bit more than 46 degrees, but not by much. And that's because we're seeing this high pressure system move into our area. It's going to start to clear those skies from those clouds and rain that we saw at the beginning of this week. And into tomorrow night, you're going to see that that high pressure system is going to be pretty much over our region of Ohio, and it's going to start clearing things up for the weekend and especially Friday. You can see that those temperatures are going to warm up, and it looks like they're going to stay pretty warm and feel more like springtime.
Thanks, Leah. Well, that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Leah Frizzell, I'm Haley Sueno.
And I'm Cameron Nutt. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest at our social media. Have a great night.